City of Stevens Point Board of Public Works Committee meeting, recorded September 14, 2020.
We have the Board of Public Works, and I will call that meeting to order at 6:52. If we could have Trish, I believe you're on with us. Trish, could you please call the roll?
Yes, Mayor Wiesa.
Here.
Lewinsky.
Here.
Kneebone.
Here.
Korlatic.
Here.
Morrow.
Here.
Jennings.
Here.
And Zarazua.
Here.
Thank you. We do have everyone present, and we will move on to our agenda items. The informational items regarding the director's report, Director Badoun, I will turn that over to you for that first agenda item.
All right, thank you, Mayor. The first thing we have there, East Park Commerce Center, just wanted to bring to the attention of everybody that that is very active. I mentioned that a couple months ago that things have been picking back up with the Lineage expansion, as well as some of the discussion with Meyer. So what we actually have out at the moment are the bidding documents for the extension, I get my words right, of EM Cops for the Lineage expansion, as well as the improvements that we discussed with Meyer related to their development. We still need to work through a few things with Meyer to get their part, put together, which I think just this process has kind of at least lit a fire on them, if nothing else, to kind of get those things to move along. Of particular importance, though, I wanted to mention, we did have to make a few last-minute changes to the plans after doing some soil confirmations here in the middle of the project. So I will be bringing this forward directly to council next Monday. The bids close this Friday. There's just no other way to get everything ready and out on the street in time to try to work with this month's calendar. So I apologize in advance for that, but we should have that a week from today to award the contract for those improvements. The second element that I want to talk about on Director's Report was the 2020 Street Improvement Project. And I guess just to wrap that up, even with the road resurfacing project, is just to let everyone know that those projects are still ahead of schedule and really should be wrapping up, minus a few of the final restoration items yet later this month. So final paving is actually scheduled to occur, weather dependent, next week. So it's actually nice to say, instead of, as the weather turns, to think that we might be in a pinch. Very nice to otherwise say that it doesn't look like weather is going to be an issue, even if we were to run into a little bit. So I cross my fingers, mind you, in saying that there. So it's nice to say that we actually have projects. So even in this year with COVID and everything else being strange, it was actually a blessing in disguise for us here with the city, because crews were able to work, less traffic on the roads, especially the project around the university, fewer activities, which would have been nice to have, but for construction purposes was actually perfect for them to work. So very glad to otherwise say that things are running on course, and in fact ahead of schedule on those. And then lastly, because I've kind of just haven't made much mention of this recently, and I know that there was specific items put in the budget for alley improvements, but I wanted to bring that to everyone's attention. We're working on a few improvements with American Asphalt on exactly the right ways to take care of the issues that we have. And there are various issues depending upon which alley we're working on. They're trying to, of course, maximize our dollars. We also ran into a snag because our contact person there, former Public Works Director Scott Schneider, has moved on. And so we were in a void for a little bit, but we've got some additional direction, and we will probably take that in small chunks because there's some differences there as we try to work out some of the finite elements of what we're doing. But we should have projects on the street here very soon yet to complete yet this fall.
Thank you very much, Director. Alder Shore, you had a question in regards to alley projects?
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, I wondered whether the alley parallel to Main to 10 that runs from Minnesota to Frontenac, about a half a block from Main/10. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I believe I know which ones, because there's several in there, but you're talking about the northernmost one.
Right, so it's just to the north of 10.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Is that part of this?
Well, we're otherwise looking at that. Our first project will most likely be on the south side. They're in that general area, Minnesota, in that area, but that'll probably be the first one. But yes, we're looking at all of them, as well as trying to also balance out what are some of our future projects are, to see if it just pays to maybe wait economies of scale to do them in a year or two. But yes, I won't say specifically it's going, that one will happen this year, but we're still evaluating that one. It's on our list.
You're not promising as far as timing. I understand that, but it is part of what you're looking. Okay.
That is one of them. We are actively looking at it right now. Yes.
I'm sure the director could use all of the funds or resources that were available, and we still wouldn't be able to get them all done in a year. All right. Thank you very much. Are there any other comments regarding the director's report?
Yeah, this is
Mayor.
Alder Slawinski. I have one.
Let's go with Alder Slawinski, and then we'll move to Alderperson Kneebone.
So I want to go back to that the TAP grant item on this report regarding the bike lanes within the city. I've been getting a lot of
Hang
phone
on,
calls,
Alderperson
emails.
Slawinski, because it wasn't specifically agenda, and I want to get confirmation from the city attorney, because this is meant to be an informational report. City attorney, are we okay talking about the TAP grant? Because it's not listed in the agenda.
It's within the report.
It is in the report, but it's not listed in the agenda.
Mayor, I've commented on this in the past to basically state that I'm not 100% comfortable with the idea of using the director's report from any one of the directors in our various meetings as a sort of looking glass into discussion of any bit of the content therein. We've always got to remember that we are agendaing using the cover page. We're not, the report itself is not part of what is noticed to the public in terms of our obligations under Chapter 19. So I think we've got East Park, 2020 street improvements, 2020 road resurfacing, and 2020 alley improvements. Those are the items that could be up for discussion right now.
Alderperson Slawinski, in an attempt, as I want to make sure everybody has the availability to comment on things, we do have the ability at the council meeting to talk about for 3 minutes on any topic. Any person has that ability. Or if you would like a specific agenda item to relay your comments in regards to the TAP grant and or the bike implements that we've recently installed, we would certainly be willing to consider putting something on the agenda to allow you to make those comments. Will that work for you, sir?
Yes, thanks.
I apologize. Thank you. Alderperson Kneebone.
Yes, I just wanted to thank Director Badoon and his staff for starting to do some improvements in the alleys. I know a lot of people in the older part of District 7 will be very happy in the next few years. So thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Yep, him and his team do a bang-up job with the resources they have. If the council really wants to thank him, give him the funding to do what he needs to do. If you find extra money, you let him know. All right, item number 2 is to award the 2020 fall paving project number 20-12 to American Asphalt of Wisconsin in an amount not to exceed $91,292.75. Director.
Well, as much as we try to do a bang up job, this is an example where I probably didn't do as well as I could have, because I totally forgot to include this one in the director's report to explain kind of what it was. And so hopefully everyone just realizes that every year we do try to look at what funding we still have available, because we don't want to overextend ourselves early in the year. If there might be change orders, but we do have some funding available. And these were the projects we had identified then. Looks like we can otherwise do them. This would be Cozy Street, something that we've been trying to do for a couple of years, as well as one block of Rogers. So this is our fall paving project for the year. If you will accept this bid, it was the one and only reasonable price is what they've been. So we would like to accept this and get those projects completed.
Any questions
This is
related to
Alders.
the project for the director?
Alder Slawinski.
Yes, sir.
Yes, I would like to move to award the 2020 fall paving project number 20-12 to American Asphalt of Wisconsin in an amount of not to exceed $91,292.75.
Thank you, sir. Do we have a second?
I do. Alder Morrow.
Seconded by Alderperson Sean Morrow. Any discussion? Hearing none and seeing none, all those in favor, please unmute yourselves and signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed, please unmute yourselves and do the same. Hearing and seeing none, the motion is unanimously carried. Item number 3 is to approve the ordinance changes in section 9.05 as it relates to parking. Director, parking.
Parking, yes. These are just a couple of changes that we had, just some things that had kind of come about, from various inquiries, either through the police department or through the engineering office. The one is just related, since St. Joseph's Parish there no longer has the early childhood center, there's no more school activities there, and someone had inquired about the no parking during school hours that existed there. It doesn't seem, after talking with the police department, that there's any concerns about parking there now, since school will no longer be in session and the children have been moved to another school to allow that. So that's one of them. We'll be removing that. And then the other one is just to clean up. It's a mistake we made the last time where we actually eliminated parking where parking was truly intended to be downtown there on 3rd Street. So just a couple of minor changes to parking for this month as it relates to that particular item.
Okay, any questions for the director? Okay, comments or a motion?
Move to approve.
Motion by Jennings to approve the ordinance changes to 9.05. Do we have a second?
I second. Alder Morrow.
Seconded by Alderperson Morrow. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please unmute yourselves and signify by saying aye.
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 Are there any opposed? Seeing and hearing none opposed, the motion to approve the changes as it relates to parking in 9.05 are approved. Item number 4 is to approve the ordinance changes in regards to section 9.05 and 9.12 as it relates to the designation of bike lanes and associated parking. Alder Slawinski, some of your comments may be relevant here. That's for you to decide, but please stay on topic. Any comments? Oh, I'm sorry, Director, let's start there.
Yeah, these are related to TAP grant improvements that are being completed with the weather holds out, should be completed this week, as a matter of fact. But yeah, these are the related bicycle lanes that we've drawn in there after any adjustments that were made, because some things changed in the field. So as per what has been put down on pavement, these would represent those. And then any changes related to parking as a result of those bicycle lanes are also included herein.
Director, could you please hit some of the highlights of the things that have been changed?
Certainly, as it relates especially to both, as far as bike lanes, would be North 2nd Street has now incorporated bike lanes and will eliminate some of the parking that existed there before. Maria Drive was another one that is going to has considerable bike lanes, and some of the parking there has been adjusted. Some of it will remain, but some of it will change and now not allow parking. The Michigan Avenue has several changes to it related to bike lanes, both on the north end and south end. There, West Clark Street had some significant changes related to bike lanes, but isn't going to impact the parking. And a few other places there as far as just some of the minor changes, including Jefferson Street with some urban shoulder, Water Street, which I think has all 3 facility types on it. And there'll be a few changes related, with those as well. But those are the major ones as far as changes to projects that would otherwise maybe relate to parking.
Thank you, Director. And one more thing, because I've been asked a couple of times how parking or no parking rather is affected by the bike lanes. Just because there's a bike facility there does not necessarily mean there's no parking. No parking areas will still be designated with signage. Correct? They won't just rely on road markings.
That's correct. And I would suggest to everybody that they pay attention to the signage, because that is going to be the clearest way to define whether or not parking is allowed or not. Simply just saying the white longitudinal line may not be enough So look for the signage.
Thank you. And I know that we don't have all the signs up. We don't have a wand where we can do everything all at once. So it will be an ongoing process to make sure that we get everything signed and painted and marked correctly. With that, does anyone have questions for the director as it relates to the bicycle lanes or associated parking? Alder Jennings,
I was just going to move to approve.
thank you. Do we have a second?
Alder Morrow, I do a second.
Seconded by Alderperson Morrow. Still open for discussion. Any comments? Seeing none. Committee members, please unmute yourselves. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Are there any opposed?
Nay. Alder Slawinski.
Alder Slawinski in opposition. Anyone else opposed from the committee? Hearing none, by majority consent, those changes are adopted. And of course, they will be considered at the Common Council meeting next Monday for ratification by the Common Council. With that, our agenda is exhausted and we are adjourned at 7:08 to finance, the highlight of our evening.
A video of this meeting is available for viewing on the city's website, stevenspoint.com/videos.